Match of their day, Big Alvin Martin hits a West Ham hat-trick. Past three Newcastle keepers. In the opinion of Alvin Martin, it was not a brilliant hat-trick, although the 60-year-old adds, it was a unique one. He can say that again. April 1986 and West Ham, managed by John Lyall, were still in the race for a league title they have never won and on course for their best top-flight finish. Spurred on by the summer signings of Frank McAvennie from Mirren and Ward from Oldham, the Hammers pushed Liverpool and Everton all the way to finish third. We were always accused of being too nice, Martin says. Those signings of McAvennie and Ward made us a little angry. To be in contention in April was some achievement given the lopsided nature of the season. Having been restricted to playing just 4 league games between Boxing Day and March due to severe weather in the south of England, West Ham faced no fewer than 9 matches in 29 days in April. Yet they won 7 of them, including on April 21, against Newcastle United. It was not just the scoreline, 8-1, which made this 90 minutes exceptional, it was the fact that Martin, a central defender, scored a hat-trick. What's more, he did so against 3 different Newcastle goalkeepers, the last of whom was Peter Beardsley. Of the 586 games I played for West Ham, this is the one people always come back to, Martin says, and they all say they were there. There were just under 25,000 present for the Hammers' 4th home game in 13 days. Newcastle were 10th, having had a good season under Willie McFall, with Beardsley their top scorer. The Magpies' keeper all season was Martin Thomas, but he had been injured in March. David McKellar was signed on loan from Hibernian as cover, but he too had sustained an injury. For a while, McKellar and Thomas alternated, and at Upton Park, Thomas returned nursing a sore shoulder. By half-time, though, he also had a sore head. Martin, an elegant, ball-playing centre-half, was an occasional goal-scorer. But he had played up front for Netherton Boys in his native Liverpool as a youth. John McBride, who ran Netherton Boys, got me the trial at West Ham, says Martin. Ron Greenwood, the then manager, did actually try me out as a striker in a trial game to see what I was like. He had turned Jeff Hurst into a centre-forward, and that turned out all right, didn't it? Bobby Moore was watching. He said I was a centre-half. When presented with a 4-yard volley after just 3 minutes against Newcastle, it did not matter what position Martin was playing. He scored past Thomas to start the avalanche. By halftime it was 4-0 and Newcastle were blowing bubbles. Thomas did not re-emerge after the interval, and in an era of one substitute, who was rarely a goalkeeper, winger Ian Stewart came on. Chris Hedworth, a young defender making his way at Newcastle, was chosen to replace Thomas in goal. Hedworth could do nothing when Martin made it 5-0 on 64 minutes, but worse was to come when Hedworth damaged a collarbone in a challenge with Tony Cottee. Although Billy Whitehurst had scored for Newcastle, a very small consolation goal, Hedworth's injury meant he could not continue in goal. Beardsley, the 5 feet 8 inches England inside forward, would not seem like the obvious choice, but he became Newcastle's 3rd keeper of the game. I'd roomed with Peter on England duty, says Martin, so I knew him. We'd play pool together. Paul Goddard made his 6-1 and McAvennie added a 7th. With 6 minutes to go, West Ham were awarded a penalty for handball by Glenn Roeder, who, of course, would later become their manager. Ray Stewart was the Hammers' hammer when it came to penalties. The Scot was lethal from 12 yards. But as Stewart collected the ball, the crowd all started singing my name, Martin says. Stewart handed it over and Martin was face to face with his old pool partner Beardsley. I have to say, Peter did not fill me with fear as he stood there. I stared at the bottom left corner and stared again. He thought I was bluffing, but that's where I put it. He dived the wrong way. Martin had his hat-trick and West Ham were still in the title race. They won their next 4 matches, but Liverpool kept winning as well, and Kenny Dalglish scored the clincher at Stamford Bridge when West Ham were winning at West Brom. At West Ham, there were no regrets. They had finished the previous season 16th, so coming 3rd was a major improvement. We didn't throw it away, Martin says, We were just behind a brilliant Liverpool team. It remains a cherished season among West Ham fans, with a unique hat-trick included.